Okay, this is lesson 5.6, Understanding Indices. Price indices help citizens, businesses, and industries follow and predict trends in prices. A price index describes the price of an item compared to a base value. Measured at a particular time or in a particular place. Statistics Canada tracks price changes using several different indices. The most important is called CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index. To determine the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, Statistics Canada collects thousands of price quotations from across the country for a basket of about 600 popular consumer goods and services, from French fries and bus fares to tuition and internet services. It takes the total price of all these things, adds them up, and then fixes that amount to a number that is 100. 100 representing 100%. As the price of that goods value goes up, however much it goes up is represented as a percent over or under 100%. The year or place that's given the CPI of 100 is considered the base year. So the base year is whichever number is 100. So on your graph, you can go to 100, trace across, 100 for CPI, trace across, hit the dot, trace down, you get 2002. 2002 is where the CPI is 100. It's actually written right there. That's your base year. So if you added those 600 consumers goods up and let's say you got, I don't know, $83,000, because some of those things are like a car and tuition, and some are like bread. But either way, $83,000. If the next year that same basket of goods costs more than $83,000, the consumer price index would be above 100. How much above 100? Well, it depends. What percent did the amount go up? If it went up 2%, then it would be 102. In what year was the cost of a basket of goods about 90% of the base cost? Well, you go to a CPI of 90. Hit the dot, trace down the year before, 1998, which is 1997. What was the CPI in 1990, and what does this mean? Well, in 1990, we have a CPI of under 80, let's say approximately 78. What that means is the same goods and services were 78% of the price from 2002 in 1990. So in 1990 it was cheaper. How much cheaper? Well, 78% of whatever the price was in 2002. Or you could say, that was one way to say it. The other way to say it is the same goods and services were 22% cheaper in 1990 compared to 2002. Oh, I did it again. Couldn't see what I was writing. I'm really sorry about that. 78% is equivalent to a CPI of 78. 78% means what? Well, it means that whatever year had the CPI of 78, that's when the goods and services were 78% of the base year's price, or 22% cheaper. Describe the change in CPI from 1990 to 1991. 1990's here, 91's there. That's a little bit of a jump. How big of a jump? If we say that's 78, maybe that's 83. That's about a 5% jump. So we could say approximately a 5% increase. What do you notice about this line segment? Well, that's the steepest line segment. So that would be the largest single year CPI increase. Steeper the line, the bigger the increase. I cannot believe I just did that again. I apologize. E, describe the overall trend in CPI and its significance. Well, since the line keeps going up, this is an increasing trend. Next unit, we're going to look more at trend. But what's that mean? Well, that means we spend more money to buy the same things over time. Goods and services. Really what that means is if we're talking iPhones, the first iPhone probably didn't cost the same amount of money when it came out as the newest iPhone. Because the same goods, the new iPhone, gets more expensive over time. All right, let's flip it over. Use the same graph to calculate the following. Calculate the average annual rate of inflation from 1990 to 2006. CPI is used to determine inflation. Average annual rate. If you ever see average annual rate, it means a slope. How do you find slope? Rise over run. Rise over run. So from 1990 to 2006, that's 16 years. And how much did it go up in 16 years? Well, 1990 to 2006, here to here, that dot looks like it is just below 110. Let's call it 109. And if the bottom dot is 78, 109 minus 78 is 31. 31 what? Well, CPI is in percent, so it's 31%. In 16 years. 31 divided by 16 is just under 2. It's 1.9. 1.9% per year. That is representative of our inflation rate. So in Canada, the amount of money or the amount of goods you can buy for the same amount of money is increasing by 2% per year. Use your answer to predict the CPI for 2010. Well, we can take any CPI year to start. Let's start with 2002. So in 2002, the CPI was 100. And it's going to go up 1.9% per year. And from 2002 to get to 2010, we'd have to add 8 years. So we're going to times 8 to get to 2010. And if we do that, we end up with 116.6, which will be our CPI in 2010. We'd get the exact same number if we started from 1990 and multiplied that by 20 and then added it to 78. Or if we maybe started from 2006, started with 109 and took our 1.9% per year and multiplied it by 4. Many ways to get there. You can start with any CPI you want. Just make sure you add the 1.9 per year for however many years it takes to get you to whatever year you're trying to make the prediction for. All right, one last example. The 2006 UBS Prices and Earnings Report includes a comparison of clothing prices in 71 cities. The base price is the price in New York. Which cities in this table have index values less than 100? And what does that tell you? Well, New York is the base for our clothing price index, and the places less than 100 are Dublin, Toronto, Rome, Hong Kong, and Delhi. What's that tell you? Well, all it tells you is that clothes are cheaper here compared to New York. All these places are cheaper than New York. How do clothing prices in Zurich and Hong Kong compare to New York? Well, Zurich, if we look in the list, is 115.6. So what's that mean? Well, that's 15.6 over 100, so that's 15.6% more expensive than New York. All of our comparisons always back to the base. Hong Kong was 75, which is 25% less than 100. So it's 25% less expensive in Hong Kong than New York. Okay, that is indices. Indices is just plural for index. And an index is just a way to normalize an amount for a certain place or a certain year. And the keys here are recognizing the base and then noting that everything is just an amount over the base or under the base, and whatever the amount is, that's as a percent. Okay, that's it for lesson 5.6. 5.7 is a U lesson. I am going to make a video that just introduces what you are going to do, but until next time.